Well, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you had an amazing weekend. The new podcast drops every Monday, so please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single one. We had an amazing weekend of travel volleyball and high school basketball. It made me think this would be a perfect time to do a pod on consistency because the wheels fall off for most when the weekend rolls around. So this past week inside of the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse membership, we made a meatloaf that my kiddos request every other week. It's quick and it's easy and it only has 4 ingredients. It is delicious. The recipes inside the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse monthly membership are clickable and they shoot right into the app. You make the recipe, you decide on your portion size, and you feed your people. Done. Always family-friendly meals and desserts inside of the monthly membership. Today, we will be talking about how to stay consistent. I will give you 9 tips so that you don't gain weight because you lack self-control and consistency. But first, I want to read a 5-star review of the podcast. My Boys 1127 says, just beginning. I'm just beginning my journey in macro counting, and Kelly has been such a great teacher. She provides real advice and suggestions to live my best life while still enjoying all the things I love. I can't wait to see my progress through Kelly Counts Macros. Thank you, My Boys 1127. I love reading all the reviews. I read each and every one. This helps me help the world. So if you have not left a review, please do so. Be sure to hit that follow button as well so that you do not miss any episodes that drop every single Monday. So, do you fall off the wagon and get so mad at yourself? You do amazing for a few days and then fall off. You track your food, you exercise, you drink water, you get good sleep, and then one little detour throws you off the wagon. You get mad at yourself. It's a constant feeling of start, stop, start, stop. But the hardest is the beginning. The scale doesn't always reflect the work you're putting in. You feel like you need to restrict more in order for the scale to reflect what you expect. You feel like you're missing something and you want to adjust your macros. It's not time to adjust macros. Perhaps you have an unrealistic expectation for yourself. You're comparing yourself to others. You are calculating what scientifically should take place on the scale and expect it to work accordingly. You expect consistent results for consistent behavior, and none of your expectations are playing out correctly. But what if instead you kept yourself accountable, kept listening to my podcast, and refused to see any day or any choice as a failure? You will be feeling more in control than ever before. You will have more faith in the process and be patient for the results. You will be ruthless with your consistency. You will feel empowered and proud of yourself. If any of these sound familiar and you need some tips, time to listen up. So get out your pen and paper and jot down these tips for staying consistent. These are the exact things that make the biggest difference for me 12 years ago when I started macro counting after I had Lola, and for my Shred and Clubhouse members that are losing up to 60 pounds without frustration and revealing the tone muscles that they desire. Number 1, make your meals as simple as you can, especially at first. I eat the same staples constantly, but just change the seasonings and the flavorings. I switch between yogurt flavors, tuna packet flavors, different fruits, different proteins, different veggies, including rutabagas. Choosing items that are almost the same in macros makes it a lot easier. Swapping those out. You can buy frozen veggie mixes. Those never go bad. And 90-second rice packets. Do crock pot recipes that are basic. Meat, pre-made sauce, and maybe peppers. Having the same meals repeatedly helps. I have the exact same first meal every day. It gives me 45 to 50 grams of protein and sets my day up right. I prefer more variety in my dinners and desserts and drinks and on the weekends. Number 2, you are overcomplicating macros. In my shred, clients will say, I went over on my fats. I thought I ate a lot of carbs, but I don't. How do I fit in more? So focus on calories and protein. That is it. I just gave you my $1,000,000 tip right here on the pod for free. Calorie deficit for weight loss, protein to preserve that lean muscle mass in a cut, and protein will keep you more satisfied. Number 3, write out your plan and stick to it. Inside the shred and the clubhouse membership, this is what we do, and it's a game changer. Pre-track your plan by putting it into your app ahead of time. This is what you must do to get your weekends under control. And this is when most people are falling off. So also removing the all or nothing mentality is key. Track the meals at the mom and pop pizza joints. It may not be perfect, but at least you're tracking something. Pre-track the Moscow Mule you want to have with your sister at happy hour. You cannot just wing it and expect to lose weight. My most successful clients pre-track. Sit down the night before or the morning before you start eating and enter your entire next day or that day before it happens. Tip number 4, realizing that being consistent does not mean being perfect. 80% is being consistent. Perfection feels like prison. So if you are ready to step out of the prison into food freedom, let's do it. Doesn't that sound delightful? Stepping out into food freedom from the prison? You cannot expect perfection. It doesn't exist. Release yourself of that feeling that you need to be perfect. Step out of the prison into food freedom. Inside the shred and the clubhouse, we use a consistency calendar. You just use a monthly calendar. You get a green check if you met your macros, a red X if you went over your macros or if you didn't track your macros. We aim to not have 2 red X's in a row. My clients that are consistent and not perfect lose the weight. And the best part is they actually keep it off. Tip number 5, not having too big of a deficit. I see this when clients undereat and then overeat because they have put themselves in a calorie deficit too low. This is typically people that say they don't eat anything at all, but they're not losing weight, okay? They undereat and then they overeat. And by the end of the week, they are not in a deficit. So being in a calorie deficit that's too low is not sustainable. You may be white knuckling it and not including your Reese's peanut butter cups into your life. You cannot be consistent because when Friday rolls around, the wheels fall off because you are hungry and you've been depriving all week. So making sure to incorporate treats or less nutrient-dense fun foods into your week. Now notice I didn't say unhealthy or bad foods because here at Kelly Counts Macros, we don't do that anymore. There's no good foods and no bad foods. If you are not sure what your calorie deficit should be, I provide a macro calculator. I'll put it in the show notes. This is your free solution to being sure you are in a correct calorie deficit to lose weight to reveal toned muscles. Tip number 6, make sure you have plenty of protein options prepped or on hand. Then when life gets in the way, you already have some quick options to grab and make. Costco has some amazing options. I was just there this past weekend. They have already made pulled pork, pulled chicken, Kevin's meals. If you have time to prep, perhaps like I do, I like to prep ground beef, chicken, pork, or shrimp, and even eggs. I just use salt and pepper, and then I add sauces and seasoning later for variety, depending what I'm making for that day. Having protein on hand to just grab when you need it will keep you consistent. Number 7, journaling. Emotional eating is something that can be a struggle. I find journaling, having my clients journal, is a helpful tool to get the emotions out instead of trying to ignore them and eat them away. You need to dig down and yank out that root of why you are struggling. Look at your environment. Were you too hungry? How were you feeling? Did your mother-in-law make you angry? Did your husband not help out with the kids? Dig down, figure out your emotion, and find a way of dealing with it by journaling. Number 8, don't make quitting an option. My clients know this. Give yourself conscious, deliberate breaks, but don't quit. The only way to mess this up is to quit. If you're not meeting your goal one day, I want you to work on it the next day to meet your goal the following day. If you're off target 2 days in a row, assess what's going on and redirect. Make a plan. Just because you went off track doesn't mean you throw in the towel. If you had a flat tire, you wouldn't go around and flatten all the others, correct? Right. You pump it back up and drive back on the road. Number 9, perhaps you're trying too hard. Trying too hard. Practice being 1% better. Could you pick one thing to focus on for this month and get that new habit dialed in and then add something new next month? Perhaps pick the habit that you think will be the easiest to form. Perhaps this month is drinking more water. Half your body weight in ounces is what I suggest. Next month is getting your step count up, working up to 10,000 steps. If you get 5,000 steps, let's try for 6,000 steps. The following month, maybe you try tracking your food. But getting the first step dialed in before moving on. Trying to do all the things at once leads to crash and burn, hence the falling off. What really helps is to carve out time every week to write down exactly how you will reach your goals for the following week. Figuring out your meals, writing down exactly what days or times you have available to train or exercise, as well as grabbing a few, I say, oh crap items from the store, meaning things didn't go as planned and you need something quick with a decent amount of protein in it. And when things go off track, no worries. You can just grab for that oh crap item. Just make the best choices you can and get back on track the next day. Make the very next decision align with your goals. It doesn't even have to be the next day. It can be the very next minute, whether that's going for a walk or making a good choice at your next meal. But you don't need to start over the next day or Monday or next month or the new year. Make your very next decision align with your goals. Thank you all for tuning in. I would love for everyone to share this episode and tag me on social media so that I can say thanks. Also, leaving a 5-star review on the podcast helps me help more people. Who knows, maybe you will even hear your review on here. It is time to get out of your own way and out of your own head and stop the self-sabotage. I can help simplify it all because I know you are busy. I know you don't have time. There is so much info out there. It's overwhelming. I know you are entering all your info and all these different online calculators and getting different answers. So the next shred will be open in April 2024. I will put the wait list link in the notes. You deserve to feel better in your own skin. I have 2 private client openings up. They are going to open up next week. So if you're interested in that, send me a message on social media. I will pull you out from feeling lost and show you exactly how to count macros with confidence so that you will fit into those jeans again and feel comfortable in your own skin. The link, again, is in the show notes for the VIP waitlist for the shred and the free macro calculator with a calorie deficit. So this wraps up this episode of Kelly Counts Macros. Now go out and keep it simple. And remember, you're always doing better than you think you are. Please rate and review the podcast and join my free Facebook community at Kelly Counts Macros Community so that you stay in the know and expedite your goals. That link will also be in the show notes. Bye for now.